When Captain America froze his mighty shield, all those who choose to oppose his shield must yield. He got the best phase 1 MCU film, yes he did, he did, he did, when Captain America froze his mighty shield. Welcome everyone to quite possibly my favorite MCU phase 1 film.
Captain Marvel.
No.
Wow. Well, that's going in the top 10 anime betrayals list of this group. Thank you very much, Roy.
You're welcome.
And for life.
This is Captain America. Although, funnily enough, Captain Marvel does feel like a phase 1 film. Captain America, First Avenger. Okay, so, to describe MCU phase 1 at first, people were definitely intrigued with the likes of Iron Man 1. People were somewhat intrigued with Incredible Hulk for all the wrong reasons. Iron Man 2 felt like a glorified commercial, but nonetheless people were hyped towards an upcoming Avengers movie to come. And then 4 kicked things into high gear. So at the time people thought, hey, how could it get any better than this aside from that inevitable Avengers movie? Well, let's just say the makers of this movie had something up their sleeves, alright, Pedro?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, get used to the duo behind this movie because you'll be seeing a lot more of them throughout the MCU.
Well, specifically the writing duo. The Russos didn't only jumped in for Winter Soldier.
Well, yeah, the writing duo.
But first, as part of our little prelude, we're doing the one-shot that came with the Blu-ray for this film. Something happened on the way to Thor's hammer.
Yep. So, assuming you're watching this on a DVD or Vimeo or whatever, just press play on it.
Before with the play screen.
Of course. In 3, 2, 1, click. So let us see what happened on the way to Thor's hammer. Assuming this happened before the Thor movie.
Technically speaking, yeah. Well, in the middle, I guess.
During, yeah. Who directed this little one-shot?
I think it's the same person. I'll check in the meantime.
Okay.
Ah, Albuquerque, hey? Did you make sure to take that left turn?
So Bugs Bunny's lost again.
Oh, Roxanne Premium!
Roxanne, cute.
So, I guess Roxanne do exist in the MCU. Technically.
Well, as per tradition, Jova were more like behind the scenes event, intervening directly.
Well, this
Also, for a freeze-frame shot, in case you're wondering, Roxanne was overcharging the gas of like 1 cent per liter. Bastards.
You know, the MCU has a thing with convenience store muggers and heroes just happening to be there.
Coldstone is polite, guys.
Don't do anything silly, man.
Define silly.
Oh.
Ooh.
That wasn't too silly, was it?
Hey, I thought people said you were the incompetent moron.
Please, that's just my cover.
She doesn't look so much shocked as much as she's just done with everything today.
Plot twist. She's the same convenience store manager who managed that convenience store that Peter Parker was at once. Before his uncle got shot. And then she was also that same convenience store manager from Venom.
Talk about the Amazing Spider-Man version of the story, or?
Yeah, let's call it Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
I forgot which movie is that one.
Yeah, that's Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There you go, it's overpricing, fucking bastards.
I miss the 1980s with their gas prices, and I wasn't even alive during then.
Oh.
And that's it. Again, easy to do.
Upbeat, peppy music. Don't you see? This is
It-
all.
It's a remix of a famous classic tune, but I forgot what its name is. Super famous.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dibs, just like the previous one, director is Lee Seung, screenwriter Eric Pearson, and produced by Kevin Feige.
Don't you see, guys? This is all integral for the information of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Again, just like the previous one, this was nice. A bit more pointless. It just served to showcase that Coulson is not a bumbling idiot, but is perfectly competent. But there, yeah, it's there. It's fine.
Yeah, it was fun and funny and fine. There, triple F.
But Trevor, the way you graded it makes it sound like it's the worst piece of wretched dog shit ever. Triple F.
Well, how about Triple H then, Lives?
Let's see. It was humorous. It was hilarious, and it was quite
I'd have gone for Triple E myself.
Oh yeah, and it was quite heartful.
Heartfelt, maybe?
Yes. There's your Triple H. What did you think, Shirai?
It was fine.
Pedro?
Yeah, that was fine for where it was.
That was
Solid
fine.
C+.
Alright, on to the
But-
nameplate then.
Okay, so this is Captain America First Avenger, released in 2011. And let me tell you, 2011 was quite a year to be a fan of Marvel Comics. You had Thor, you had X-Men First Class. That was also an amazing movie, as you'll recall from our commentary as such.
This
Eh.
film,
Super 8.
Wait, Super
Marvel.
Marvel?
Oh, I thought you were talking about movies in general.
Oh, no. I said 2011 was quite a year if you're a Marvel Comics fan, because of movies in
Okay.
general, let's not forget we had Green Lantern this year. The Ryan Reynolds one.
I know. That's why I'm whatever.
although this
The
film
one you
didn't-
wanted you to forget.
although this film didn't exactly do that big business at the box office, on a budget of 140 to 216.7 million dollars, it grossed only really about 370.6. I don't think it was
Jeez.
helped. I don't think it was helped by the fact that this film only came out. It came out only like 2 months after 4.
What's up with the huge financial gap there? Like 140 I get, but the 216?
Maybe they released it too soon after 4.
Well, there's also the fact
Oh,
that
no,
this was
I get that. I was
before-
just wondering, what's up with, the budget range there, like, from
I don't
140?
know. I can't
Well,
find
this is-
accurate.
Well, there's also the fact that this was before the MCU popularity exploded. So
And Captain America, while a relatively popular Marvel character, didn't have, shall we say, the best track record when it came to movies.
yeah. Okay,
Apparently
all right,
not.
All right, let me sum it up. The first noteworthy adaptation of a film like in America was actually in 2 TV movies, not 1 but 2 TV movies made in the 70s, starring Reb Brown. Now, if you're familiar with Mystery Science Theater, or if you're an Italian like Teo, who's seen Bruno Mattei films, is it Mattei? Yeah, Bruno Mattei films. You'll know that Reb Brown is one of the sadly underrated big action movie stars. He did a lot of great B schlock action movies that are kind of like underground things that are very hard to get. Actually, unfortunately, he never really made it like Schwarzenegger did. So basically, he got cast as Captain America, and those movies are, how should I put this, they're not good. The first movie portrays Captain America as a retired ex-Marine who just likes to mellow out in his cool set of Vans. Yes, this is a superhero whose origin story is that he punches Hitler in the face, but apparently that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
How is that not good enough?
No, it's not good enough, apparently, for them, sure. So we have to rewrite it to where he's a whiny ex-Marine who doesn't want to do any actual crime fighting. To give you an idea, Shira, even after he gets superpowers, he starts whining about it.
So you think that would be the worst of the Captain
Like,
America movies, right?
You gave me a secret serum that gives me superpowers. How could you? I didn't give you permission to give me superpowers. But anyway, yeah, those movies were terrible. They even managed to bring in Christopher Lee somehow for the second one. But anyway, in the 1990s, there was also another Captain America movie. This one was a more natural Hollywood-made film, and it wasn't a good thing that happened. As Shira would say.
It actually.
It was even a huge bomb. It was a $10 million of a budget, and he made $10,000. It's like 1% almost.
It had like one good highlight. Go ahead, Whips. I know you want to mention this.
Yeah, the Heil Hitler theme.
Which actually got replicated for this movie, believe it or not.
Yeah, it had the Heil Hitler thing that Nostalgia Critic pointed out back in the day, and because of that, it became a meme. So yeah.
So anyway,
Pedro, was it interesting to know that one half of that Golden Globus Canon Group people was a producer on that film? The lot that made Superman 4.
Oh,
gee, that explains so much, doesn't it?
Anyway, speaking of which, this movie had its own troubles, so believe it or not, this movie began as a concept in 1997. Yeah, that long ago. It was scheduled for distribution by the Artisan Entertainment. However, it had a lawsuit that was not settled until September 2003, which disrupted the project, needless to say. And then in 2005, Marvel Studios received a loan from Merrill Lynch and planned to finance and release it through Paramount Pictures. But then it got pushed back a bit later when they brought on directors Jon Favreau and Louis Leterrier for the project. Who
are going to do Iron Man and Incredible Hulk.
Funny. So instead this project got given to Joe Johnston in 2008. Then the principal characters were cast between March and June 2010, production began in June 2010, and finally this movie premiered at the El Capitan Theater on July 19, 2011. To be released in the United States on July 22nd, 2011. So, funnily enough, this movie did not premiere in America. Oh, wait, never mind. It did premiere in America. Just on Hollywood Boulevard.
That'd be the ironic thing, a Captain America movie not releasing in America.
You want to tell him, Pedro?
I'm sorry, what? Could you repeat that?
A Captain America movie not releasing first in America. It's not like that would ever happen.
No.
Yeah, I know about the Marvel's interesting release schedule, but never mind. No.
So, you've heard the history about it, now it's time to witness history itself, because this is the movie that revolutionized Captain America as a character, not in just the eyes of moviegoers, but even comics books fans themselves. And needless to say, the guy would get a lot more attention in the comics, for better or for worse.
It's basically what I've always wanted. From speaking as a Captain America fan, this is what I've always wanted in a Captain America movie. A movie that understands the character and proves that a selfless, pure-hearted superhero can work for modern audiences. You just need to know what you're doing and put him in a story where that kind of character can be interesting, which is what Christopher Market and Steve McFeely do masterfully in this trilogy.
I guess it figures that after 3 tries, they would finally get it right.
Anyway, let's get started now. Start before the Paramount Pictures logo.
All right, then. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, click.
Captain America First Avenger. More like Captain America, the best Avenger, am I right?
I'll say.
Anyway, interesting thing though. The guy they cast to play Captain America in this film, Chris Evans, up until this point, at least in superhero films, was known for playing an obnoxious twat.
Yeah,
Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four movies made by Tim.
Oh God, he was
Tim Story.
Okay.
Story, that's it.
Poor Chris Evans. He acted very well. The problem is that he was acting to play a douche very well.
And also, it was kind of partly his fault as well, because he had a lot of ad-libs that he did that were in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
See, the problem is that Chris Evans, as in that role, he was such horribly miscast, because Chris Evans, and you can see this, on the Blu-ray special features of the Avengers Endgame Blu-ray, they have a special feature talking about the retrospective on Captain America in the MCU, and they even talk about the reason why Chris Evans was cast. He has an interesting story about that. Chris Evans, the casting director for the MCU, Sarah Finn, I think that's her name, Sarah something. She knew that she needed a who could not just act out Captain America self, someone who had to be that. And guess what? One of their first big, their first big choice at the time was, of course, Chris Evans. They thought Chris Evans would be a great idea because he had the look for it. And guess what ultimately convinced them that it had to be Chris Evans, no one else. When he got approached to be Captain America, his first answer was, believe it or not, he was hesitant at taking the role.
Oh yeah, I remember the stories all about that.
Because at the no, that's the thing. Because at the time he still wasn't the movie star he is today, and he was reluctant about going into a movie that takes that makes him, you know, like a big star. He was hesitant at first. And Sarah even says in that special feature, the fact that he himself doesn't want to become a star, the fact that he's modest at that point, that's what convinced Kevin and the rest of the team that he was the perfect guy to play Captain America. His reluctance to become a star makes him the perfect guy to play Captain America.
Humble to the very end.
And as for the director, I can't say I've seen a whole of Joe Johnston films. From memory, the only film of his that I've seen that he's directed was bloody Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
Wow. So
although
he's
although to be fair, the reason that movie sucks is more so because of the script rather than his direction, to be honest. So.
I can agree with that.
Joe Johnston's primary major role at first was being one of the big special effects model people in the original Star Wars trilogy.
So why do the dinosaurs look infinitely worse in that
CGI.
movie? Also, not even
between the snow.
It's not just the CGI. The animatronics themselves look like they had a downgrade.
Also,
Yeah,
between
Jurassic
the snow, the lighting, and the structure, this reminds me so much of Alien vs Predator.
So
Regardless, the major reason why Kevin Feige picked Joe Johnston for this movie was because, well, those who saw The Rocketeer, which is an obscure Disney movie, will know that this guy is a master at portraying the 1940s in movie.
hello.
Wow, there's our main character, the Shield.
So, believe it or not, folks, we'll be spending most of this
back in time, back to the 1940s.
So
Yeah.
Norway specifically.
Hey, it's everyone's favorite time for movies, World War II.
Mr. Filch, what are you doing here?
Oh my god, it is
It
him.
really is his actor.
David Bradley, yeah.
So this is what Filch would look like if he aged.
Either that or the first Doctor had a massive diversion. He took on this job for some reason.
Shit.
Wait, Filch was one of the doctors?
He played, well, basically because the guy who played the first Doctor died many years ago, and so did the guy who replaced him in a one-off Doctor Who special at some point. They cast him as the first Doctor due to his portrayal of the actor who played him.
Hail Hydra, I guess.
Oh boy, Hydra.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. Apparently, for some reason, at least in the comics, the Nazis apparently weren't evil enough. So.
Well, remember, I might as well get that out of the way. Basically, Dwebs, that's because the whole reason Captain America was invented was because at the time America was, you know, in kind of not at World War II yet. They haven't joined
They
it yet.
needed propaganda media.
But they needed propaganda against Hitler. So what better way to create a character that's literally donning the red, white, and blue colors, who uses a shield that dons the figure of the American flag, and the first comic book issue of Captain America has literally on the cover Captain America punching Hitler in the face.
Let me put
Also,
it.
guys, God damn it, I forgot the name of the actor.
Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving as playing a bad guy. Never saw that before.
That's all I want. Yeah, Hugo Weaving plays Red Skull, the iconic
yeah.
Captain America villain.
Red
Captain
Skull.
America's
in this
arch
movie.
nemesis.
What are Hydra, you may be asking? Let's just say this. Hydra start off as essentially a
They're gonna
core...
explain later in the
Interesting
movie.
tomb. But... Oh,
Hello.
you chose poorly.
Oh, look, it's a Tesseract.
I'm sure that won't be important.
Odin's, you say?
Oh,
Exactly.
damn. Odin really misplaces his
Oh.
stuff. Oh. Oh, never mind then. Well,
Oh,
actually,
but
it's still
Sorry,
rounding
go
about Earth, so yeah, I think he did kind of misplace it.
all right, this is okay. Time might as well. This is good a time as any for me to once again talk about the creation. Shiroi, Captain America was created by
Stanley.
Nope.
It was created by a man called Joe Simon.
Yeah.
And
However-
Jack Kirby.
Well, yeah, well, Jack Kirby was always there to draw, yeah, but the guy who actually had the proper ideas and wrote the original comic book was Joe Simon.
In a sense, Captain America was a bit before Stanley's time.
However, Shiroi, shortly after that, Stan Lee, at only 16 years old, got hired as a writer for Marvel, and he had the distinct honor of being the writer for Captain America's third issue. So even though he didn't create Captain America, he played a big part, and he wrote. He was basically the primary writer for Captain America after that. So even though he didn't create Captain America, he had a big role in shaping the character into what we know as
There it
today.
is.
You know, when you get down to it, Captain America is a lot like the Superman of Marvel in the sense that he was kind of like the first recognizable superhero, since, as you know, a lot of other heroes were created by Stan Lee, who didn't come on until he was at the age of 16.
The interesting thing, Shiroi, is that even when Stan Lee doesn't create the characters, he was still involved in it somehow.
Yep.
Even if it was minimally.
Snap. Psych, I lied.
Fun fact, Shiroi. Not only did he join Marvel as a writer at 16 years old, 2 years later, at only 18 years old, he became Marvel's lead editor.
Oh, no,
Awesome.
Mr. Filch.
Well, you know he's a bad guy when he lies about sparing someone's village.
Meanwhile,
All right. Meet our
New York.
Meet our protagonist from Brooklyn, Steve Rogers.
On a CGI body.
Steve Rogers. Yeah.
who became like Christian Bale since he had to lose weight.
Yes, that's the interesting thing. Might as well. Kevin Feige even says in the behind-the-scenes videos from the Blu-ray of this movie that he knew that, okay, if people don't buy Steve Rogers before he becomes Captain America, then this whole movie falls apart. We need to get this right as possible it is. So they basically, Captain America's, Steve Rogers'
Oh my.
small little, asthma, scarlet fever, he has a shit ton of illnesses. That's basically, there you go, Shiroi. The one American who desperately wants to protect his country more than anyone else is the little guy full of illnesses that forbid him from doing so.
Unfortunately, it's
Stock
those
footage.
How's that for
in
irony?
the army.
How's that for
Actual
irony,
World War II
Shiroi?
stock footage.
So he kind of goes see movies and he loves watching the propaganda that played in theaters at the time.
Yeah. And if there's one thing Steve Rogers doesn't like is
Lack of
respect.
patriotism.
them guys.
He's a bully, Dwebs,
Mm.
as you're about to see.
And that of the size
Yeah, I don't
indeed.
Hold on. Wait for
Ow.
it.
It's clubbing time.
Foreshadowing! Yay!
Well, unfortunately, it's a bin.
It didn't quite work out yet.
Hold on. Catchphrase coming. Yay! He said it.
Yeah.
All right.
You can go home now.
But yeah.
Yeah, this was the beginning, everybody, of a catchphrase that Captain America would have throughout the entire MCU.
Hmm.
I can do this all day.
He literally kicked his ass.
That's Bucky, Steve's best friend.
Yeah, that's right,
Hooray.
folks. You know Captain America's usual sidekick, Bucky? Yeah, let's just say Steve is more... Well, he can't even call himself a sidekick to this guy, but let's just say Steve looks up to him. Ain't that some irony?
He's
Basically,
played by Sebastian Stan.
Basically, Shiroi, the original comic book, as written by Joe Simon, just has him be there right from the beginning, taking the serum with no backstory
Oh,
whatsoever.
Bucky's coming to England.
Yep, he is. Well, remember, Dwebs, World War II.
Basically,
I think it was. I believe it was during the war where America tried to spare as many of his people as possible to help us, the Brits, in our war effort against the Nazis.
Pretty
Well,
much.
look, guys. So there goes Shiro.
Is that Disneyland?
So there goes Shiro. Even though Tony hasn't been born yet, as of right now, his father, Howard Stark, is showing off his technology. So the Stark family is still present.
If you don't remember, this is the place when Iron Man 2 showcased the planimetry of them.
So yeah, I'll admit, already we've got some pretty good world building out of the gate, as well as world connections too.
Interesting, so it...
Man.
Huh.
Yes. But yeah, like I was saying,
Clara! No, not Clara!
Something
Yeah,
wrong,
I
Glibs?
just say that me and Dweebs don't like that actress, and possibly Shiro too.
Not
Well,
the actress.
a role that an actress portrayed. There you go.
Oh,
which
boy.
actress again? Sorry.
General
the
Louise
brunette,
Coleman. She plays.
One of
Probably-
she plays what is, at least for me, the worst Doctor Who companion in existence.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
well,
is that
she's-
the one from? Oh God, what was that one you showed
Well-
me? The 12th? No. The 9th
11th
Doctor.
and 12th.
So there you go. So Shiro, what do you think? Like father, like son?
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Like I was saying, when Joe Simon originally wrote the first Captain America issue, Shiroi, Captain America's just there. He's already there. Well, okay, we see Steve Rogers, little Steve Rogers, but he's like the comic literally starts with him already being given the serum, and he barely even talks in his first appearance. So it was Bucky only comes in later.
And he was pretty much a child, there to be just a sidekick.
Yeah. However, I really like this particular change where they make Bucky and Steve already friends from the beginning. And as a neat little twist, Bucky is the one who's the strong one at first.
I know,
it's
right?
I really like this because, again, it gives Bucky a much greater role in the overall story and makes the overall friendship between them even stronger. The fact that they actually knew each other from the beginning.
Anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
as for Steve in this part, before he becomes Captain America, basically Chris Evans' head was CGI onto another actor's body.
It was actually a combination of several techniques, Jova. I have the Blu-ray, so and I've seen the special piece, so I can tell you more about it. Basically, it was practically every shot, Jova, had a different technique. They used the best technique for each possible angle. So because there are some angles where the same technique doesn't work as well, so they had to use several techniques, and they also had to make sure all those different techniques achieve the exact same result to make sure it's consistent. So it through a lot of hard work and brute force, that's how this was achieved.
Let's just say for 2011, that was pretty much a very great set of effects here. What was the name of the other actor whose body they, shot his face?
I forgot his name. But yeah, he was the stunt double for this first act. Yes.
I mean, trust me.
I wonder if that spectacled guy is going to be important.
I wonder. Let's just say
that's Stanley Tucci. Anyway, he is. But anyway, I love that scene in particular because Steve is once again going to try and enlist, as he says, "I've got no right to do anything less than the others because we all have to do our part and all that stuff." So right from the beginning, this movie makes sure that again, Kevin Feige specifically said in the behind-the-scenes features for this movie, we have to make the audience fall in love with this character before he gets his powers. Otherwise, then the movie will not work.
You gotta love how Stark Industries is pretty much discount Disneyland.
Pretty much.
It is illegal to falsify your enlistment form. Yeah.
Yeah, and Steve.
Tell that to Johnny Sasaki, Pedro.
Yeah. So yeah.
But here's an interesting thing, Dwebs. Being a 1940s comic book, obviously all of the Germans at the time were portrayed as evil bastards, right? However, one cool correction that this movie does is the scientist. Here's a little twist: the scientist who gives Captain America his superpowers is a German himself.
Abraham Erskine,
Yes.
whatever it's pronounced.
He's definitely one of my favorite side characters we see in the Phase 1 MCU films.
Yeah. He's one of my favorites, period. But
that too.
I'll bring up why, period. I love this talk here. Listen here. I love this one.
There we go.
Yeah, before that, Germany. He's going to talk about why he left Germany later.
Uh-oh.
This is important. Listen here.
Oh God!
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
Expect to hear that a lot in this film series.
All right.
As
Yeah,
the
I
old
guess
He does his best.
I guess he can fit in the areas that the big guys can't.
Basically, Shiroi, in the original. Oh, hold on. Here we go. Yeah, where are you from, actually?
good old
Hey.
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
Dej would have loved that.
Yeah,
Joe,
it's a
but
good-
question.
If you,
Since I'm not a-
if you were one of those, if you were one of them more arseholey kinds of recruiters, they'd be like, "Yeah, where are you from? Brooklyn, get out." Or something like
question,
that.
Joe.
Well, he's not even a recruiter. He's a doctor. So
Yes, Pedro?
it's different.
Question, Joe. But how far apart are Brooklyn and Queens?
Ooh, well, okay, let me put it like this. Even though they're technically in the same city, that being New York,
Yeah,
they
I know.
are
Oh,
quite a ways
funny.
apart.
Interesting way to introduce the character. Let's just say that in the comics, Arnim-Zola looks just a tad different. I'll mention it later, but Reeves, before that, you may be interested to mention his actor, actually.
His actor is Toby Jones.
Jones, who's mostly known, well, he has done a lot of things, but Doctor Who fans remember him as the Dream Lord.
We have quite a lot of Doctor Who alumni on
Yeah,
board.
but let's just say
Yeah.
that. Oh, hold on, this is actually
Well,
important.
they actually, Joe, they weren't in Doctor Who yet at the time.
You know, those wacky Nazis. One day they're going after the Ark of the Covenant, the next they're going for the Holy Grail, and now
Oh, and
this.
And he voiced
There
Dobby
it
the
is.
House Elf.
Okay,
They're
or
very eccentric people.
more idea in the comic, this is called like the Cosmic Cube, but for simplifying things, we just called it the Tesseract here.
Well, let's just call it the Cube. Oh no, wait, then people will get it mixed up with the game.
And just say in later movies, they will also simplify it more by having it contain one of the Infinity Stones.
It's a shame that game show was cancelled, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but
Same.
Dare I ask what it was about?
No. You need to play God, so
you
yeah, there you go. Raise the output.
you
Well,
have
there's
seven challenges, and you have different challenges inside
Well,
this
there's
small
also the
cube.
fact-
The more you do, the more money you get. I'll show you an
Well, there's
episode
al-
later if you're interested, Jim.
Well, it's also the fact that it's Red Skull, so obviously. But
But
yeah,
yeah.
basically, Shiroi, like I was saying, in the original story as written by Joe Simon, Captain America, the scientist gives Steve the super serum just because he's actually showing off to a crowd how awesome his serum is and how he's going to create a bunch of super soldiers. So Steve is just there because he wants to show off how effective it is. Look, I can turn this wimpsy little dipshit into a giant super soldier. That's all he was. He was just a generic lab rat in the original story.
Vince McMahon would love that guy.
But yeah, they just say that, okay, for the sake of this movie, it makes much more sense because Arnim Zola does start as a Swiss scientist that works for the Nazis. But let's just say that to integrate him in modern times, he transferred his conscience into a robot body of sorts with a monitor with his face on it.
Oh
It's
boy.
extremely goofy.
Well, we kind of get that in Winter Soldier, kind of. but-
More a version of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oof.
Ha. Yeah, that's Agent Carter.
Oh,
and
goody.
we don't-
Oh, here he
Played by
is.
Haley Atwell.
Here he
Tommy
is.
Jones.
Here he is, Mr. Tommy. I cannot sanction Lee, your buffoonery Jones.
See,
Also,
this
I think
movie-
she punched his face up in the air. Jesus.
See, this movie has such star power, jeez. No wonder the budget was so inflated.
Oh, yeah. They have quite the all-star cast for this movie. Definitely. Well, it's not the sole reason that helped it, but they definitely got top-notch actors. And hey, Tommy Lee Jones is a war general. Tell me that doesn't fit.
We have the best men, and because some of them are going to get better. Much better. But yeah, this begs the question, though, Shira, since of course we're trying to tell a more motivation-driven, character-driven story. Why exactly did the scientist pick Steve of all people to be the first one to take the super serum? We'll find out later.
His heart, I guess.
Oh.
Because he's
Well,
the main
kind of, but the movie makes it way more clever than that.
because he's the main character.
Huh.
Well, that's the opposite. Oh, and now we're going to take a cue from Mulan, of all things.
Hmm.
I mean, he does it different than Mulan does, but yeah, it's the same basic idea.
Hmm.
You'll see here.
Yes, you'll have to run the rest of the way. Come on, I can make it. No.
of course.
Maybe because everyone's probably a bit too heavy to climb that bloody thing.
Hey, I said fall in line. You're disobeying orders.
Huh.
There you go.
Practical solutions.
Just like Mulan. There you go. Just like Mulan, Steve used his mind.
As they say, work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, this scene was also the reason he didn't get picked because he disobeyed orders. I'm kidding.
Well, that's up to the doctor, not this sergeant.
Well, they said to get the flag. I mean, he did it.
But he also said fall back in line, and it meant him
hold
as
on.
well.
Here you go. So.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
I miss Will Smith.
I'm so emotional right now.
Yeah, seriously, Tommy Lee Jones has the emotional capacity of a potato. I'm sorry.
And yet, he still does it so well.
Yeah.
Was he the
Yeah.
guy who was beating up Captain America? Sorry, he was beating up Steve earlier.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course.
You win wars of guts. So let's see who has guts here.
And what if the grenade went off?
Well, he would have gone out like a true hero.
Yeah, but who'd be Captain America then? Tommy
Hold
Lee
on.
Jones.
Running gag.
Pay attention, there will be a test.
I love Tommy's line though. He's still skinny.
Yeah, I was thinking if the grenade blew
Oh,
up,
here we go.
we'd have to have Tommy Lee Jones play Captain America.
All right, so okay, true story. This is my favorite scene in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Why?
Wow, really?
Because when I was watching this scene in the theater, I could not believe what I was watching. I was so tremendously happy by this scene. After watching this scene, I know, all right, we've got it. This movie is amazing.
So I guess you could say that this was your marvelous scene, as they were calling it back in 2019.
This is my one. This is my one marvelous scene. Yes. The scene where Dr. Erskine explains to Steve why he's the chosen one specifically. And we also get some backstory on him and Schmidt, a.k.a. Red Skull. What's this? A German in World War II who's not a complete douchebag? What nonsense is this?
So apparently, Hydra is the Nazis' research group.
It's a common trope in fiction to have the Nazis have a scientific/magic division that research the occult.
Yeah.
There you go.
I guess he would be, considering how much the Nazis get beaten to these archaeological digs by Indiana Jones.
So yeah, when he heard about the super serum,
You know, now that you think about it, seeing as how Disney owned Indiana Jones, this could technically take place around the same time.
so there you go. In a difference from the original comic, the serum made both the Red Skull and, however, there were other effects. Yeah, let's listen here. This is important.
Oh boy.
Experimental.
So it's like Bartok the Magnificent.
Something else Disney owns now.
God. The good old saying, a rich man who becomes poor is more wise than a poor man who becomes rich.
Depending on the circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to it, though. I'll talk about while the scene right after it's done. Hold on. There's one more line. Yeah, promise me one thing.
That I won't die in a minute.
No, that he will stay who he is.
That too.
Hold on.
Because, I mean...
I like the music in this movie.
Yeah, the music was done by Alan Silvestri, the guy who's most famous for doing the Back to the Future score soundtrack. Yeah, true.
Fuck this shit. I
I want a drink, damn it. But yeah, what I was referring to just, if you've seen the 1990 Captain America film, you do kind of get a bit of idea of where part of this film is going. Fortunately, Captain America isn't a prick. But,
oh, don't even get me started, Wibbs. I hate that 1990 movie, but that's a topic for another. But yeah, the main words cannot express how much I love that scene, because, like, holy shit, talk about fucking nailing the character. Holy fuck.
Uh-oh.
And I suppose it was great to see after all the other Captain America movies.
Yes.
yeah, up to this point, the Captain America movies were either schlock or...
In just that one scene, perfectly encompasses why Captain America is awesome, like, entirely. Like, for example, this isn't even into the perspective of the MCU itself. Okay, as Dr. Erskine said, a strong man who has known power all his life might lose respect for that power. If this sounds familiar, it should. That's what happened to Thor.
Before.
Which means that, by the logic of that Thor movie, Steve has always been worthy. Keep that in mind for how many movies it is later until Endgame, I guess.
8 years from then, seeing as how Endgame came out in 2019.
It'll be worth it in the end.
Yes.
Hey, I got beat up in that alley. In that parking lot.
You know what this means, right, Wibbs? This means that even if Steve tried to lift Thor's hammer right now, he would have been able to lift it, because he's just that worthy.
I love how Steve's pointing out...
hammer isn't there yet, so...
I love how Steve's pointing out all the wonderful places where he's gotten beat up in.
So yeah, Steve is kind of the opposite of Thor. When you think about it. Like the doctor said, a strong man who has in power all his life might lose respect for that power, but a weak man knows the value of strength.
But yeah, he's not very good at talking to women.
The car has probably better social skills than him.
I was about to say he's not that great at talking to men either, to be fair.
Well, I don't think.
And this scene will also have a payoff 8 years later.
I don't think Dr. Zola picked Steve for his conversational skills.
Like, this is exactly what Captain America needed for to create a whole new generation of fans. A movie that completely understands why this character is a good character.
Oh,
sorry,
an antique
Steve,
shop.
Sorry, Steve, we lied. You're being sent to work in the antique shop.
Oh no, it's the old lady from Catwoman. Wrong movie.
Really? That's the same actress?
No, probably not.
She looks like the woman who played Aunt May from the Sam Raimi movies.
What I also love about it is the final line. Sorry. What I also love about
Amanda Walker, that's her actress. So go on, Pedro.
But yeah, what I love about that final line as well from that scene is stay true to what you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man. Why is that specific line, not a perfect soldier? Well, this will, of course, come into play in movies like Civil War and even Infinity War. Why? Because, yeah, he needs to stay true to what he is, not necessarily the perfect soldier. And by perfect soldier, of course, means a soldier who just blindly follows the orders of what his superiors tell him, a good man. And if by being a good man, he needs to go against the same government he's supposed to serve, then he will.
Oh,
ultimate
goody.
irony
Look
for a
forward to
patriotic
that.
character.
It's that one small distinction that completely demonstrates that the writers of this movie, Christopher Marcus and Steve McFeely, have a complete understanding of this character.
Yeah, we can't keep the CG body up forever, so
Yes, it's an amazing, wondrous combination of effects, but if we keep it going up, the film will be broke before we know it.
That actor looks like... sorry. Yeah, that actor on the right looks like a bit like Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, fun fact about the transformation scene. As told to us in the Blu-ray special features, they were originally trying to think, how are we going to do the transformation sequence? Like, are we going to have like the muscles literally increasing on screen, stuff like that? Eventually, they realized, oh, well, this is important. Kind of.
For you.
don't worry, you'll fill it in.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci is so great as this character.
Oh,
Yeah,
look
I
at
hope he
that,
hasn't
Mr.
drunk too-
Howard Stark.
Oh, work with Stark technology.
I hope he hasn't drunk too much, though. Otherwise, we'll probably end
Please don't
up
burst
killing
into
the
a
guy.
musical number.
Yeah. So the transformation sequence. But then eventually Kevin decided specifically, no. How the transformation happens, that's irrelevant. The important is the men coming in and the men coming out. That's the important thing. So how the transformation itself happens, that's irrelevant. We can just do it inside a little pod thing.
Fun fact, actually, this movie was the decider of Chris Evans' career. He actually mentioned in an interview that if this movie failed, his career was, and I quote, effed up. Needless to say, such did not happen. Anyway, Howard Stark here is played by Dominic Cooper.
Fortunately, all the stars aligned, and this movie was fortunate to have the perfect director for it and the perfect writers for it.
And look at Chris Evans now. He can play a twat in Knives Out, but actually come out looking good for it. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is this going to be?
2. Oh, 2. That's not so bad.
Well, I guess when you put it like that, it sounds just fine then. Okay, that's doing a bit like a 3. But okay, I guess the worst is over now.
Yeah, how about that?
Eh?
Yeah, we're locking you in this fridge for eternity. That'd be the worst thing if it turned out all this was a trap. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, feels like a 2. This doesn't feel as bad as it could be, I guess. I love how dramatic the music is for this sequence.
Yes, Alan Silvestri is also my personal favorite composer of the MCU because he does such fantastic work. He does work in this movie, the first Avengers movie, and Avengers 3 and 4.
Okay, now it's feeling like an 8. Oh god, now it's feeling like a 9. 10! Full on 10!
Remember, Java, try your best slight Brooklyn accent.
10! Go on, 10! I can do this!
The light is speaking to
Oh
us.
my god, it feels like an 11! But I can do this, damn it!
No, go 105.
That would
You're
just
giving
be...
it a more.
I don't think the machine can handle more of those.
And this is why the PS Vita failed.
And Captain.
Because they overflowed it with energy?
Well, guys, that was Captain America: The First Avenger. Final
What a
thoughts.
another great Marvel short movie.
Mr. Stark, yeah, please open the pod. And there you go.
There it is,
Oh, no.
the iconic
Oh, no,
Captain
Rob
America
Liefeld worked on
theme.
him.
Yes. Da-da-dun-dun-dun.
This
Yeah,
was the
and-
first
and
ever
Steve-
theme that people could actually remember and hum from a
my-
Marvel movie.
And my God, Jova and Teo, doesn't he look exactly like how Jack Kirby drew him? Look
Yes,
at
I know,
him. He
right?
looks exactly like it.
So there you go,
See-
guys. The
You see, Rob, this is how human anatomy works.
So, okay, there you go, guys. The ultimate irony. A superpowered, blonde, blue-eyed fellow working against the Nazis.
Here, let me get a picture for Shiro and Dwebs. That's Shiro and Dwebs.
Something about that guy looks right shifty.
Shit.
Psych!
Oh. Oh.
So, yeah, this movie just paid homage to the Psycho Hitler from the old 90s Captain America flick.
Just with more
Eh,
subtlety.
Yeah,
Except
yeah,
he,
here,
he,
yeah,
he
here-
doesn't yell, "I'm Hitler."
Yeah, here's a good one. There you go. All right. Basically, everybody in the audience, by all. Oh, hold on. You still there, Shiri?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, everybody, search for, if you want to see what I'm about to show, Google images for Jack Kirby, Steve Rogers. You should be able to find it in the search results. This, Shiro and Waves, is how Jack Kirby originally drew him back in the day. Doesn't he look exactly like it?
Yes.
Talk about
Even the haircut is pretty identical.
So the assassin is played by English actor Richard Armitage, who was in a lot of British TV
Oh,
stuff,
nice shot.
including Spooks, Robin Hood, the Netflix version of Castlevania, where he plays Trevor Belmont.
Cute.
Nice.
This was the movie where, at least to me, this was when it truly became clear that that Marvel Studios was making movies that were comic book movies that weren't just like that were trying to appeal to not just casual audiences but comic book fans as well. Like try to reach both sides of the spectrum, And this movie does it perfectly. It's a wonderful love letter to the character and anyone who's familiar with the character. But it also has a great movie in its own right, even if you're not familiar with any kind of comic book. Here you get the big jump there.
So,
now
let's see the first demonstration of Captain America's
Lordy,
ability, shall we? God, what I would have given to have had this in my track and field team.
Another great thing that I like about the way Joe Johnston directs this movie is that despite the more dramatic storyline and the more focus on character, and again, the story being much updated to modern standards, the movie doesn't shy away from having good old-fashioned 1940s comic book action sequences.
It's the perfect mix.
Well,
Boy, Steve, you sure have a knack for finding makeshift shields.
Well, Joe, maybe that's why he chose it in the later scene that we're going to see.
Hmm. Oh, poor kid.
Ha!
Yeah, love that scene. Yeah,
Yeah, I love that scene.
it was such an interesting subversion.
Next time you have a
Yeah.
hostage, make sure he can't swim, dolt. This is very much a good old 1940s action, complete with the underwater submachine and everything.
Well, Joe, it also has to do with this.
Hello.
This is the rare perfect adaptation that captures. Usually, of course, the most important thing about an adaptation is to capture the soul, not necessarily the look.
Whee!
Well, okay, but yeah, that's a thing, Joe. The mark of a great adaptation is an adaptation that.
Cyanide Mag. Fucking losers.
A.k.a. Hydra. Yeah, Hail Hydra. Yeah, but yeah, a great adaptation should, above all else, capture the spirit of the source material, not necessarily the specifics. But this movie captures both the spirit and the look of the source material, everything.
So yeah, because the Doc died, his secrets to making super soldiers died with him. So in terms of big buff guys, this is all the American army is going to get.
That's one of the constants of every Captain America story, to the point where a lot of times a lot of people try and replicate the formula to make Captain America to a lot of quirky coincidences. Believe it or not, in the Ultimate Universe, a lot of supervillains and superheroes are created in attempts to try and replicate the super soldier serum.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh.
I really like Hugo Weaving as Red Skull. Like I really think he does. Obviously, gets more over the top later when he reveals his true face, as he should. But yeah, I really like how he's still trying to keep it together for now, just to make that final act a bit more impactful.
Of course.
So it's the Eclipse cannon.
I guess it's without shattering the Earth.
And now, my fellow gentlemen, I'm going to destroy half the moon to prove my power.
Berlin is also
But
pleased.
Berlin?
Whoop.
And you two are on the map.
Oh. Yeah. It seems like Schmidt here doesn't exactly really care about the Nazis.
Schmidt is nuts. That's all you need to
Let's
know.
put it like this. Hydra is considered the absolute most evil section of the Nazis. Like, the Nazis, you could argue, there were some people who weren't into the evil mindset. They just happened to be all drawn in by the propaganda and whatnot. Hydra were those absolutely dedicated to being the most evil possible.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to mention when it was happening. But did you notice how I did love that final shot of Stanley Tucci when he was dying, where he pointed to
The heart.
no, not necessarily that. Remember, Theo, it's be a good man. Like he wanted to tell him that remember, stay true to who you are. That's it. And Captain will do that. I can assure you of that.
Either that he was pointing at, hey, you got more impressive pecs than I have. Ugh. Or something like that.
But that begs the question, though. Okay, so we completely 100% nailed the origin story. But what about the suit? Because let's face it, the Captain America outfit is quite goofy by today's standards. Let's face it; it was a part of its time in every meaning of the word. So how can we? And the previous movies did a terrible job at making the outfit look, at making the audience buy the costume. So how will this movie pull it off? Let's see.
Okay.
London.
Yep. Let's just say Tommy's a little skeptical.
Yeah, this is another thing that I love. Like, I do like the fact that even when he does get his superpowers, unfortunately, people still see him as a freak, and they wanted, and like he said, he wanted an army, and he's not enough. And people don't take, and that's the interesting thing. Even after he becomes a superhero, they still don't take him seriously. So Steve has to work hard in this version of the story to make people respect him. Because in the original story, he just becomes a superhero and people immediately buy it that he's the savior and who's going to kill Hitler and all that stuff. But I like the fact that they have to make the oh, here we go. So what did they do? They turn him into an attraction
mascot,
show. A
basically.
mascot.
Yeah.
And that's where the outfit comes from. That is fucking brilliant.
I didn't knew this was the actual the Youngblood movie.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, everybody, this Marvel movie has an Alan Menken song. Yes, Alan Menken wrote this song for the movie.
He's looking at his shield, reading the script.
It's all part of
Again.
the act.
Again, this is such a perfect way to have the outfit make sense, and makes it okay. It's a mascot outfit, of course. It's gonna look goofy. And by the way, Shiwei, that shield that he's wearing right now, that's the original shield as Jack.
Yeah.
That
Believe
Jack
it or
Kirby
not, originally Captain America's shield was not a circle, but it was done
Now
in
he's,
typical
Traditional
shield
shield.
format. Yeah.
now he's getting better. He doesn't have to read the shield.
So yeah, that's
Eventually memorizes it.
So yeah, that shield he's wearing right now, that's another Easter egg for comic book.
Oh, but I think another Easter egg is about to come up.
Yes.
The guy who wrote the lyrics for this song is a guy named David Zippel, who's been
Hold on.
he's been writing a lot of things.
It's Hitler.
Oh no.
Yay!
You know, it fits, seeing as how when you get down to it, that is literally how Captain America was debuted to the world, punching Hitler in the jaw.
And speaking of that,
Oh,
there you go.
there's the
first ever
comic.
Captain America comic book. That cover that I mentioned. There you go.
It is such a brilliant means, let me tell you.
This movie is so orgasmic to Captain America fans.
And
By
it's
the
got
way,
a memorable
by the
song
way-
to add to it, too.
This is one of the greatest scenes ever created in cinema history.
Let's see. Alan Menken and Alan Silvestri? Yeah, those are two Alans that you want to have on your picture.
Can I put the bike down now? Yay!
I do love also the trend, the overall gradual change where he was disappointed at first, but as he saw how people were starting to be inspired by him, he genuinely started enjoying it because again,
Oh. Hello.
But yeah, when doing it in front of the actual soldiers,
It's
not
a
so
different
much.
thing altogether.
Well, they're quite different attitude-wise from the general public.
You just know we just wanted to see more private snafu instead.
Well, that was kind of a thing in World War II and the Cold War. Just want to remind you boys what you're fighting for out there.
Why
Also,
does
you're gonna make fun of him. I bet he's paid.
okay, again, Danny DeVito was right. Why do people always bring tomato at a speech?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Why do they bring tomatoes? That's the thing.
Well, sure, you never know when someone's making a speech that you hate. So.
Now, admittedly, one can understand why soldiers may have a bit of a different view to Captain America here. See, he's used for propaganda. But here, they're already in the war, and let's just say the war could be somewhat demoralizing to those on the field.
Mind you, the Italian Liberation Front was more soft. It was at a point where my country already had signed a peace treaty, and it was just a matter of freeing from the actual German Nazis who was still there.
All right, here's a good one.
True.
Anyway, okay, since it went by quickly, so it was hard to take a proper good look at it. Actually, never mind this scene.
But Admiral Lee Jones won't let me.
Isn't he a lieutenant, actually?
He's higher ranking than him.
Let me check.
Yeah.
At this point, Steve is not a captain yet. He's only a soldier.
Colonel.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he was. I thought he was talking about Phillips.
Yeah, Colonel.
Well, it's pronounced Colonel, too. The L is silent.
Yeah. The L is pronounced like an R on that one.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, technically not silent, but yeah, what Joe said. It's weird, though. You'd think they put an R there instead, but whatever.
It is weird.
Asano, let me remember where it is.
Exactly. 107, that's the unit where Bucky went to. Yeah.
Oh boy.
The Star Spangled Man with a Plan. I love that nickname so much.
Yeah, those are sure very few.
It's not fun.
Oh.
Yeah, Europe was quite the powder keg during World War II.
It's probably not great just to go back in there and storm them.
That's a big Shiroi. He will do anything to save Bucky. Remember, Shiroi, Bucky was the only one who stood up for him and believed in him before all of this.
Now, Private, I hope that you're not referring to what I said in a sense that it's going to be coming off as quite dramatically ironic to me.
And do love that line, though. If you have something to say, it's the perfect time to keep it to yourself.
I understand,
Ain't that
sir.
the truth?
Also, Shira, I need your vastness for a second because I was checking the filming, and apparently aside from places like Manchester, Liverpool, and Manhattan, they filmed, some of the war scenes in a city called Carwent, I think it's called.
Give me a moment.
Just help us, please, Yuri.
Oh, hang on. Caerwent?
Yes, that.
Yeah. It's in Monmouthshire in Wales. So yeah, there won't be any more Steve Rogers shilling defense bonds.
Ha! He's got nothing but his own prop shield to use.
That's probably made out of wood or would last 2 minutes.
Oh no! It's made out of metal.
Because is it the kind of metal that can withstand gun?
Ah, cute. Stark's the best aviation pilot they've got.
Well, he's a Stark, so that's not surprising.
Oh, by the way, Carter, are you and Stark, a thing? I love how he asked that. You know what that would mean, though, if they were a thing, then. That would mean that Tony's mom is Peggy.
Okay.
Well, do we know if Howard was even married at this point? No, I don't
No, he wasn't yet. But wouldn't that be funny, though, if Cap said, oh, by the way, Tony, I kind of hit on your mom back in the day.
You're not an official captain, though.
Wee. All right, but yeah, might as well show it to again, everybody. Google images Captain America issue 1 if you want to watch this. Basically, here's Shiro, so you can check it out since it was on screen at the time. This was the cover art by Jack Kirby for the first ever. Just look at that cover art. It's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
I mean, if you're gonna sell a product, punching Hitler is, pretty good place to start.
Yep. And again, Captain America was kind of...
That's the thing, Shiro. Take a better look at it. It's not just that he's punching Hitler. There's other Nazis in the background shooting at him, but he doesn't give a shit. He goes straight for Hitler.
Just want to keep in mind also, think about it. He was the one who started off the trend of Marvel superheroes. There were technically maybe other hero comics related to Marvel, but Captain America was the start of the trend of the actual superheroes.
Now we're at the point of a superhero movie about a guy who's more inspired by his beliefs. Just like Wonder Woman, he has this random group of friends to help him out. But first, he's got to help them out.
Yeah,
the Howling Commandos.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that Wonder Woman took a lot from this movie.
I mean, hell, they even have a part where, I'll bring it. They even have a part where a certain lead, the male lead, drives a plane into the ocean. Boop.
It's, yeah. But yeah, that's the thing, Shiro. To quote Linkara, there's a trouble with low sales of comic books in recent years. Well, maybe if we had more covers like this, maybe the comics would sell better. Just saying.
Yeah.
No, let's have a complete fake out of Captain America proclaiming he becomes part of Hydra. I mean, Pedro, to be honest, they retconned eventually. Everyone knew it was coming, but it was still a dick move back
Not
then.
only that, but it took years for them to retcon that.
Well, for better or worse, Marvel obliges to changes to the status quo at least for a while.
From what we've heard, apparently they may be finally retconning one more day.
No, that thing's still going.
Well,
the Superhuman Registration Act was kept for a while. Thor being dead and replaced by a robot was... Oh, jeez.
Well, Joe, if there's one thing that... If at the very least there's one positive consequence was such a wonderful in-joke in Endgame about
Oh, yeah, like I said, I mean, if there's one thing the MCU is becoming known for, it's making good stuff out of the most dumbest things in comic book history lately.
And nowadays, since Marvel Studios is directly under Disney, it's not like the comic book division can do anything about it.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
I think it's more like you mean that now Kevin Feige is in charge of all of Marvel, not just the movies.
Well, I mean, before that, Disney took Marvel Studios and put it more under their control.
Yeah, because Perlmutter was being a bitch.
So yeah, let's see if we can find Bucky.
But he wants to free all the other soldiers, obviously.
So, Liz, you didn't give your opinion. What's your opinion on this masterpiece of cover art?
Yeah, it's
It's a cover.
It's Jack Kirby's. It's one of Jack Kirby's crowning masterpieces. Come on.
Oh, by the way, one of these Howling Commandos will be Fun fact, one of these Howling Commandos will be an ancestor to a certain character we'll meet in the sequel.
There you go. He knocked off Adolf Hitler 200 times.
He's counted. That's more impressive. That's impressive. And also, what's more impressive, he punched Hitler, or you remember the amount of times he punched Hitler.
In case you're wondering, the guy with the bowler hat, he's played by Neil McDonough, and he's supposed to be a character called Down Down Dagan, who later becomes, an integral part in the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
Ah. Toby Jones is not impressed.
Ah, yes, even back in the 1940s, Buicks were the in car. Again, that guy will be the ancestor of a certain character who will be joining Captain America in a lot of his sequels. For those who don't know, that character is Falcon,
Yeah.
Yep.
who may or may not be becoming the new Captain America, just like in the comics.
And thus, a
We'd have to
long
watch
and
Disney
beautiful
Plus for
friendship
that.
was born.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and hey, us Brits don't have to wait too long for that. At the time of this recording, it's out in a month, so
How nice.
that could be the way I could watch the Avengers with you guys, for example.
Oh, trust me, Dibs. Disney Plus is gonna come in handy for a lot of movies.
Oh no, sorry. Hold that round here. Avengers Assemble. Blame the Avengers movie, the other one,
Yes, the one with the Care Bears in it.
and the one with the deserted London.
Keep
At
in mind,
no
folks,
point
we
was-
exaggerated on neither of those points. Why is there always a countdown with bad guys?
Because things more.
Because they love-
Java, don't you remember Action Comics #1? Having a timer just makes things more tense.
Hey, it's like the Master said in that Doctor Who episode. You can
Um,
never resist
Do
the
not
ticking
mind
clock.
me, I was just leaving.
Basically.
An age over.
Yes.
It's like that Doctor Who episode. The Master said, "I can never resist the ticking clock."
Hold on. We found Bucky.
Yay!
Strapped down to a table, and it sounded like...
I love this one. Wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, shit happened. I'll tell you later.
I got bigger.
Hey, Pedro, isn't it interesting how we find Bucky and he seems to be chanting something in a daze while strapped down to a chair?
I'm
Yes,
sure it's
well-
not important.
I'm sure it's not important. Moving on.
Nope, not at all. I would hate for shrinkage to occur.
Or to become a werewolf. Yes, that actually happened once.
Hey, that clock went faster. That's cheating.
Yeah.
Well,
Basically, Dwebs and Shiroi, in the first ever Superman comic book, Action Comics #1, for some reason in the corner of a certain page, there was this timer in comic book saying "Alive hangs in the balance," but then eventually that timer just disappears and nothing comes of it. It's weird. I don't know what the.
Also, Dwebs, playing fair, we're Nazis. We do not play fair here.
Oh yeah, and
I mean,
that's
it's
time.
war,
And
yeah.
that's time for Red Skull to show his true colors.
Now, let us meet
Literally.
while hanging over a burning bridge.
Resisting.
How?
Oh,
So that's why Captain America doesn't use guns. He keeps dropping them.
bummer.
Remember,
Is that true in the comics? He can't. It's
Remember,
not so much
Dweebs.
he doesn't use guns as that he can't use guns.
Remember, Dweebs. He doesn't like bullies. He doesn't care where they're from.
Oh no, it was Tom Cruise all along.
Ethan Hawke?
And there you go. Now you know why he's known as the Red. He literally
He's
has
an
a red
action.
skull. This was the consequences of the serum, basically. It was experimental at the time, and apparently this is what it did to him.
You
he's
pretend
one
to
of
be
the
part
mo-
of society, but me, I am willing to admit, the
I love
monsters...
how hammy he is. I love it.
I mean, it's you waving, might as well.
I'll come you already given that you have no fear. But
Because
yeah,
I'm the bad guy. That's what we do.
But yeah,
Hmm.
Red Skull in terms of acting and just being an on-screen presence, I think he was one of the more entertaining Phase 1 villains, but he still kind of suffers from being a bit of a one-dimensional guy.
Or a one-shot guy.
He
Until,
was more fleshed out. He was more fleshed out in the comic strips. However, for the purposes of the MCU, unfortunately, we didn't have much time with him.
the best Phase 1
But
villain
how
was...
nice of him! He gives Toby Jones a nice car.
The best Phase 1 villain was definitely Loki, but Red Skull was a... I'm not quite sure I'd say close, but he was a decent second.
He's a good old fashioned 1940s bad guy. Like hammy
Well-
speeches, he's nuts, and he just kills.
Oh,
because...
that car is
But
awesome.
that's not really saying much. The other villains we had in Phase 1 are either assholes in suits or generic crazy people.
Oh,
with
trust
stuff.
me, I absolutely get that. Well, I mean, it's like, Red Skull actually is a pretty good villain in terms of being a threat, and we actually get to see him as the bad guy for a decent amount of time in the movie, as opposed to,
It
like,
also works-
the last
it
few
also
minutes.
It also works better in this specific movie because this movie goes for a 1940s retro vibe. So
True, yeah.
having a more old-fashioned bad guy who just laughs and hams away makes a lot more sense in a movie like this.
That
And,
definitely did help his, that definitely did help his case a lot.
I really
Alright.
Alright, let me just get a running start now.
Another big reason why the Captain America movies are so wonderful is both Sebastian Stan and Chris Evans do such a fantastic job portraying Steve and Bucky's camaraderie.
Oh.
Well, it's tension. Did he make it or did he
Oh,
not?
boy.
Marcus and McFeely want to keep you on your toes, Dweebs. Did he make it or did he not?
So Captain America has quote unquote died 3 times in this film.
This is a weird sequence of movies.
I know, right? It must be his ghost we see every time. He really can do
Either
this all day.
Either that or Steve has like 55 twin brothers.
All right. Oh, this one here. Also, Teo, personally, I think Tommy Lee Jones's stiff acting, I think, works well for this specific character because this character is supposed to be stiff and kind of, stuck up anyway.
Yeah.
So in this case, this is actually one of those cases where his stiffness works.
And to give Tommy credit, he can do over-the-top acting. Lord knows
Yeah,
Batman
as he
Forever
showed in
showed
Batman
that.
Forever, yeah. Yay, Captain America theme.
Like I said, this was the first theme that definitely people could hum and memorize, courtesy of Alan Silvestri.
I'm not going to lie to you guys. Back in the theater in 2011, this scene made me cry tears of joy.
Would not surprise me.
In a moment, I'll specify the exact moment in a bit.
In terms of themes I can remember, Jova, having watched all the movies, you know how many themes I remember?
3.
Yes, 3. The Iron Man 3 one, this one, and the Avengers.
I figured.
That's it. I don't think the rest even have themes. Because you're fired.
But that would be disciplinary action, sir.
You're forgetting.
Well, it's not necessarily disciplinary. It's just get the hell out of my army, Uri.
I love this. I love this comment here.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's get it for Captain America.
He did something! He finally did something among us!
It was this exact moment right here.
And so ends Captain America: The First Avenger.
Actually, we have more.
Again.
Honestly, Captain America gets some of the best, like personal moments in the MCU overall.
Oh,
Captain America?
absolutely.
That's your cue, Captain.
Well, Captain America, sure.
No.
He
Yeah.
is Stan. He is Stan. He is. Don't worry.
Stan Lee is a military general.
Nah, he's in London.
General Stan Lee.
Huh, wait. We had 2 war rooms? Huh. One
Yes.
underneath the Houses of Parliament and one here.
Yes.
Maybe this was the case back in the 40s, Dwibs.
I don't know.
So now Captain America is finally being allowed to, actually participate in the war effort more directly.
Captain America, where he does most of his stuff in England.
Yes.
Well, at the time, because World War II, it made sense.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, America and Britain were.
There is a
working
Captain
together.
Britain, but I don't remember if it starts in World War II as well.
Oh, God. How many Captain Britons are there?
As far as I remember, only one. He just changes costumes and powers later on because of Excalibur.
There must be 2 then, because I remember there being a female Captain Britain.
Oh.
But hey, at least he's got good command of
Yes.
Yes.
of his peers.
Yes.
The Howling
uh,
Commandos.
They're loyal to him since he saved their lives.
Are they drinking Carling by any chance?
I wouldn't know.
That's a famous beer brand around here.
Huh.
My God, have I talked about how this movie is so brilliantly written?
Yes. But by all means...
It's all
Aw,
cancelled.
his tour's been cancelled.
Oh.
Eh?
So wait. Does that mean the MCU
Ooh.
has got...
Hello, Peggy.
You have a good choice of color, madame. I mean, you have a fine choice of color, madam.
Madam, I appreciate your color, but I'm a little bit frightened of the color red at the minute. Because I saw a guy with a red skull.
I'm just trying to block that out and just talk about how gorgeous you are right now, and would you like to dance?
Nope. Well, not right now, anyway.
No, you're not, Steve. That's your sister who's invisible.
I love it. He just got rejected by Peggy. I'm turning into you. What a horrible nightmare.
Again, it sort of is
the roles are reversed now.
It's a bit of a callback to how Bucky was sort of the up-and-coming Dick Grayson to Captain America.
Yeah.
What's Howard doing?
Testing something. Something of a little fragment!
Dwibs, he's a scientist. That's what they do. They do science.
And I was just wondering what he was doing. Yeah, write it down. Little tiny ball can blow up glass and nearly kill everybody. they have the Stars and Stripes in London, apparently.
Maybe it's an imported copy.
Yeah, well, but I'm surprised you can import it all around this time of year.
You'd be surprised.
Mm. Oh,
Again, another thing. Like,
oh boy! Don't tell me it's one of these scenes.
Why, miss, are you,
trying to seduce me.
Oh, I'm so I don't really like scenes. The whole oh no, it was a misunderstanding. I swear.
Well, technically, Dwebs, they never actually go through with that thing. They just have her be jealous about. Technically, there's not an actual misunderstanding. Technically, Steve doesn't have to justify himself to anyone. He's single.
Oops.
Busted.
Not to mention, it leads to a very funny scene in a moment. So check it out. But yeah, Chris Evans' performance in the MCU is absolutely pitch perfect. Like, there's not a single hint of cynicism between. Yeah, that too. Yeah, Steve brings up a good point. Yeah. Yeah, there's not a single hint of cynicism in Chris Evans' line delivery. Like, everything about it feels genuine, sincere, as Captain America should.
So a suit, something to give him sort of flexible armor.
A suit that fans will constantly debate on the quality of for quite a few years.
Vibranium, eh?
How did you get that? It's a bit rare.
Very rare. Unless
we were inspired by a comic.
That's
book.
actually also a good question, John. This was like decades before Jesus Claus started to smuggling. How did Stark get the Vibranium?
Oh, there you go. Hold on. I love this one.
Jesus!
Yeah.
What if that didn't hold up against the bullets?
Then Peggy would face a court martial, and
Actually, he's Captain America. He's immune to bullets. Actually.
No, Pedro.
Pedro.
He's not bulletproof.
He's not bulletproof, but he doesn't die just because of bullets.
Well, yeah, but if you place the bullet
he gets wounded, but
I mean, okay, to be fair, he can still die if you, like, place a
go.
bullet wound in his heart or whatnot. That's the thing about Captain America. He's kind of like Superman if he weren't bulletproof. Like, he can still die from a well-placed bullet shot.
But yeah, Captain America. Steve decided to go with a variation of his propaganda outfit because it grew on him. So there you go, a really natural way to incorporate the outfit.
This is most displeasing.
And once again, hold on. And once again, I have to praise Ryan Mannering, the art director of the MCU, because this is such a fantastic, modern, nice take on the Captain America outfit. It's incredibly recognizable as the original Jack Kirby creation, but the clever use of the darker shade of blue and the other little knickknacks that were added to the outfit makes it a lot more believable for a modern audience. What do you think, Dweb, since you're very particular about ridiculous outfits? Do you think Ryan's take on the Captain America outfit looks good?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's a bit better than the one they had in the next movie.
The what movie?
Avengers Assemble.
The first Avenger movie. Well, to be fair, they Agent Coulson specifically said in that movie. Isn't this outfit Steve asked? Isn't this outfit a bit old-fashioned and stuff? Well, considering the circumstances, we could use with some old-fashioned. So it was meant to be. Like the movie itself acknowledges that it's meant to be a bit more goofy compared to this one.
So as you can see here, Bucky seems to specialize with sniping.
And guess what? And we get to finally see Captain America throw his fucking shield,
like a boomerang.
And it's actually cool.
What are you talking
about? Close to them cutting away from because they couldn't sew the shield right enough.
Well, I'm sorry, Hugo. I'm sorry. Seriously, yelling at the camera. It was very rude.
I'm a 1940s villain, Teo. I must yell at my underlings.
I know, but no, I know the way it was shot. He was like yelling at the audience.
But that's not the only way I can ham for the camera.
Not enough.
Are you sure about that? Apparently not. Love it.
I know what we'll do. We'll do what 98% of MCU movies do. Everyone, let's make our own sword shield throwing guy.
Well, technically, sir, you are the current whore, Captain America. No.
Just get someone that can throw things really good, then.
With all due respect, sir, you're the only one who can match him in strength.
But people are going to get tired of that trope eventually. I want to do something different. Have some lackey do it.
For what purpose?
So I don't have to do it. Yeah, no comeback.
It would never work.
Okay. Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Well, I suppose they could dive bomb onto our train and hijack it, but what are the chances of that happening?
Well, I guess we'll find out now.
You know, when done well, action scenes on trains can be pretty flipping awesome.
Well, that's good. I'm pretty sure that applies to every single type of action scene, Jova.
Yeah, but trains are like that special kind. Not a lot can get them good, but the lot that can do it incredibly well.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did enjoy the train scene in Dark Phoenix.
And Lord
Same.
knows, that finale from Lone Ranger is marvelous.
Sorry, X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Well, but Dwibs, don't you know it's called only Dark Phoenix?
Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
In America, around here, we added the X-Men bits.
In America.
It was a trap!
You guys can't hear the TV, right?
No. Anyway, so where they may have gotten the vibranium, Tio, let's not forget there were a few tours to Africa during World War II. Again, 7 years down the line, folks. 7 years down the line. You gotta wonder, actually, how far in advance they planned a lot of this stuff.
Well, Jova, Kevin Feige did talk something about how when the original time when he first approached Josh Brolin when it comes to playing Thanos.
That was definitely probably before. I mean, that was probably sometime after Avengers, seeing as how the guy who plays Thanos originally is someone completely different.
It was actually after that one, yeah. Basically, in preparation for his appearance, I think it was in Age of Ultron. I think that Josh Brolin first debuted as Thanos. No, it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. That was it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For Volume 1 of Guardians of the Galaxy, Kevin Feige actually met with Josh Brolin.
Oh no! Bucky!
You know! Oh fuck.
Well, shoot! They just killed the iconic partner.
Well, I guess we'll never see Bucky again.
It's like if a Batman movie killed Robin. Okay, now it's personal.
But yeah, like I was saying, yeah. Hold on, actually, let's see.
So, Dr. Zola has been captured.
I'm sure he won't do anything.
I mean, he's just in this room. Like, what can he do?
Pray to God they don't go Dark Knight on you.
Although, when we get to a certain scene in The Winter Soldier, something about a certain part of that movie always confused me because of what happens in this scene.
Dwibs, to quote Linkara, comic books are weird.
Well, those are comics. These are movies.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
remember,
a
we're
filet
trying to be...
mignon steak.
Well, we're trying to incorporate some of that characteristical weirdness for the sake of appealing to the high hearts as well.
I know when you do the different mediums, Pedro. Sometimes things work in one medium that don't in the other.
Honestly, Dwibs, considering how tough some comic book fans have it, it's often a good thing when they get thrown a bone with stuff. Especially considering how they don't want to see Galactus as a stupid cloud, no matter how stupid you may think he looks.
I mean, it's not like movies can't be weird too. I mean, it's just that it's just weird for a different reason, but it's still weird.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. This is what I do sometimes. I eat while doing my job.
Tommy, you're drinking milk accompanying your
Although I
steak.
still do the job.
Sorry, Theo, but we couldn't do that newspaper look scene that we already did that in No Country for Old Men.
No,
Good old Switzerland.
No, I was noticing, like, the drink that is accompanying the steak with is milk. Like, the odd choice of combination.
I've seen plenty of people do that, but yeah.
Theo. He's a professional military colonel. He doesn't drink alcohol. He drinks milk. He doesn't drink on the job. I mean, come on, Theo.
Sure, but why not water at that point?
Maybe he really appreciates milk.
I guess.
I mean,
So
milk's nice.
No, Dweebs, I'm fine. It was just accompanying it with it. It just feels odd to me.
yeah, I've seen plenty of people have milk with their steak. I don't
Like Chuck Norris.
I mean, sometimes I sometimes have milk with whatever chocolate I'm having.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if Chuck Norris can go into a bar and ask for
boy.
a glass of milk, that makes it that of course officially makes milk the drink of the gods. So.
We are going to the plastic surgeon. Well, I am specifically.
Funny you should mention a Valkyrie Red Skull.
That's the thing, Dwebs. The 1990 Captain America movie did that, where in the beginning of the 1990 Captain America movie, Red Skull has his Red Skull, but then suddenly after the 70-year time skip, now he doesn't have a Red Skull anymore. And like the nostalgia guy put it himself, there's plastic surgeon and then there's fucking miracles. That doesn't work. And yeah, like if he's called the Red Skull, shouldn't he have a Red Skull?
So there you go, guys. It's funny. It's funny how Red Skull describes a Valkyrie as such a graceful thing. Yet later, about 6 years. Then about 6 years later, we get to see how a Valkyrie isn't really all that graceful. In fact, they can get pretty drunk and wasted.
Yep.
And now
we're about to get a really cool detail of how the serum works. Check this out.
And the superpower I wish I had.
Oh.
Well, no more hangovers.
Yeah, I wish I couldn't get drunk. Although I guess in this case it's more, he wishes he could be drunk.
It's just in. One feels depression after losing a friend.
It was my friend, of course I did.
Yeah, after all, you're not Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Allow Barnes the dignity of his choice.
Yeah. Steve, with great power comes... Oh, no, wait. We can't do that yet.
Saying hasn't been invented yet.
And besides which, I don't think the people that own our multiverse own the rights to it.
Oh, they could technically say the line. Or could they?
The line itself is not copyrighted, Wibs. So they can say it.
Well, crap.
Eastern Seaboard. Okay, I know he means America, but since we're in London right now, is he going to wipe out all of East Anglia?
Probably.
Kick his ass. Bristol's, I mean, obviously.
All right, go. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, about the whole throwing the shield thing. Okay, Shiroi, you know how awesome it is to see Captain America throw his shield?
Yep.
What if I told you that in the first ever Captain America movie from the 70s, Captain America doesn't throw his shield one single time?
I think you mentioned this to me when you were telling me about how terrible the movies were.
Basically, Shiroi, and the closest you get, Shiroi, is him throwing a big pork chop at a bad guy.
Why wouldn't they have him throw his shield, though? That's the strange thing.
Because apparently...
Oh, Wilhelm
Couldn't
scream!
afford to.
Again, Shiroi, like I said, the backstory of punching Hitler was apparently not good enough, so it's abundantly clear that these filmmakers didn't like the source material.
Or at the very least, didn't really understand it very well.
Honestly, Dwebs, that's the thing about the thing about the Red Brown Captain America movies, Dwebs, is that if you take away the Captain America name itself and the outfit, and that's it. That's the only thing connecting those movies to Captain America. Everything outside of Captain America himself is completely unrecognizable as Captain America material. Completely unrecognizable. But it's not. Those are not Captain America movies. They're only Captain America movies in name.
How'd you come across those movies?
Well, actually, back in the day when Spoonie originally reviewed, I wasn't aware of their existence. I was only aware of the 1991. It was when Spoonie reviewed them that I was introduced to them, and I actually went on my way to watch them because, well, go ahead.
Hey, Carl, do you think we should have just burned him? No. Let's intimidate them first, and then slowly close them, and then decapitate them, and then take him into the Führer.
But we're not taking him to the Führer.
Ah, Führer. Remember, we're splitting from the stupid Nazis. We're much better than them.
Good ass kicking.
Hold on, listen here. He gave you everything, so...
Huh.
Have I mentioned that I love this movie?
I hate Brooklyn.
Hold
Well,
on.
have I
Hold
got
on.
bad news for you? Because I can do this all day.
It's all day.
Why always at this point?
Huh. Literally a human shield.
What if he missed or it hit him or something? Captain, you might need this book.
Ow!
Sorry, my aim's not so good.
Right. I'll make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah. A firefighter is the last place you'd want to say that your aim's not very good.
Man, have I mentioned how much a shame it is that we only got to see the Howling Commandos in one movie? They're so flipping awesome.
I haven't
Howling
seen it.
Commandos in what, sorry?
The Howling Commandos in just one MCU movie.
I haven't seen it yet, Java, but I'm very regular instead for the Agent Carter series.
I don't remember if they were on there. Pedro?
I haven't seen the Agent Carter series, unfortunately, but I've heard something like that as well. Yeah.
Well, again, I was talking mainly about the movies, but yeah, if they were in the Agent Carter series, I wouldn't know. Shame the Agent Carter series kind of fizzled out.
It's a shame because I actually heard it was pretty good.
The Agent Carter
bit.
series was good. It just didn't have the viewership that something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had.
I love that bit from Tommy Lee Jones, by the way, when the guy said, "Cut off one head and two more. Come on, let's go find two more heads."
Holy shit, Peggy's packing.
She has played Wolfenstein, she knows where to aim.
From that perspective, for a bit there, I thought she killed the Iron Man prototype from the first movie.
Oh, right, yeah.
Imagine that. Wolfenstein with Captain America DLC.
I'm surprised that you can operate a ship like this with just one person.
Oh, well, that was one of the revolutions of World War II. Bigger aircrafts.
What does zeal mean?
Zeal? Which...
It says Zeal, New York City on this target meter.
That's a section of New York City.
Zeal means aim in German.
Yep. That means basically they're gonna lock on to it.
Yes. Come on, Cap. Faster.
Okay, apparently super speed isn't exactly one of my abilities.
What are you talking about, Joe? According to the 70s movies, it totally is.
Well, we aren't in the
super
70s.
Speed, and by super speed, I mean the editor of that movie pushing the fast forward button on his VCR. Yes, because the effects of that movie are bad, really bad.
Set it into maximum overdrive.
The 1990 film.
Well, that one too, but no, the 70s movies have it even worse.
Hold on, just gotta get my kiss there.
Oh, I know this one though.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones was perfect for this movie. Honestly, I don't really see Tommy Lee Jones as sterile so much as I just see him as more the straight man. Though, again, he can overact when he needs to. I definitely think his shtick worked the absolute best in Men in Black. Oh boy.
Ooh.
Well, it's a long way down. One for Chicago.
For Boston.
Man, so basically they're planning to bomb the ever-loving crap out of America. Basically, the idea was that America was the big superpower helping out the Union at the time, so the idea was to sort of attack them here. Take out whatever threat the Allies might have. And then later they were replicated for other countries, like good old England.
When I destroy your country, there will be no America for you to be captain of. You'll just be called Captain.
How about Captain right side up this to your face? It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but uh-oh.
But trust me, Dwebs, bad effects are the least of that movie's problems.
No.
They-
Oh, you gotta love this. There are literally bombs that you can fly manually.
Apparently, yeah.
So, suicide bombers in the most literal sense.
Think
So
of-
we are not at the destination yet.
Oh
I guess.
boy. Whoop.
Ooh.
Ooh. That
Hey,
was
it's a trail of
surprisingly
red.
That was a surprisingly violent death for the MCU.
And just like that, the film was rated 15. Okay, not really.
When you wish upon a star,
Okay,
your
but
guts fly
Disney
out
didn't,
very far.
Disney weren't running the MCU yet. So, funny enough, this was Paramount's last movie where they had the distribution rights.
But still, this is now officially a Disney movie, so there you go, guys. There's officially a Disney movie where, well, then again, Aliens is also a Disney movie now. And heck, now that I think about it, Pulp Fiction was technically made by a company owned by Disney at the time of its making. Disney just kept their logo free of it.
And while the next two movies would have the Paramount logo on them because Disney and Paramount had a deal where the Paramount would get a bit of the box office proceeds of Avengers Assemble and Iron Man 3, the films were really just distributed by Disney
Ha.
Yeah, Disney
from
knows
Avengers
that.
Assemble onwards.
Yeah, Disney is aware that only nerds like us really know about the inner workings of who owns each company, whereas casual audiences just see the logos and they think that's the company. They don't think and maybe that's the company being owned by a bigger company. So
Well, at least he gives them a straight answer. You don't give up, do you? No, that was a rhetorical question.
Yo,
But
Red
yeah,
Skull, they ever teach you this move over in good old Berlin?
But yeah, picture this: a Captain America movie where Steve is basically saying, "You know what? I just want to kick back and let things flow and find out who I really am." You know, he's not interested in being a superhero movie where the main character is not interested in being a superhero because that sounds appealing.
You know,
right?
Pedro, you just saying that made me imagine him saying it while we're watching the scene going on, like there being an overlay. Yep, that's me, Steve. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh,
It's
goody,
interesting, Joe,
autopilot.
Well, it's interesting you say that. You mentioned that, Joe, but since you're usually not a fan of those of that trope of starting the movie in the middle and then go. Oh, by the way, you're wondering where I got to this point, right?
In medias res.
Although I'll admit, the Sonic movie does that pretty well.
I never really minded that trope anyway, so I'm fine.
Let me put it like this. It can be done well, but in a lot of ways, the problem with in medias res is that a lot of times it sometimes takes out some of the tension up until that certain point in the film.
Oh shit.
I guess it depends on when they choose to do it.
There's a right way to do it, let's just say.
Yeah, you have to pick the right moment in the story to have that. Yeah, I'm so intrigued by how it shines. The power of the universe. Unlimited power.
Yeah, to dissolve you.
Yeah, his obsession with the occult powers is what does him in.
Don't worry, Joe. He survived.
Don't do
this,
drugs, kids.
And so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Tesseract
believe it
was
or
so
not,
powerful.
believe it or not, he survives this.
Yep. We'll get back to him in 7 years.
For the record,
And
folks,
so-
I totally defeated him.
And so the Tesseract was so powerful, it caused Red Skull to change actors.
That one little blue cube is so much fucking drugs.
I know,
sure,
right?
Well, sure, as we'll learn later, it's an Infinity Stone. So
Okay, Steve, you could turn the plane right around.
actually, we cannot, as he's about to explain. Basically, the flight controls have been damaged, so unfortunately, a safe landing is not an option.
So, between this and Wonder Woman, we have a thing about the male leads having to drive a
Sacrifice themselves,
plane. Sacrifice themselves in a plane, mind you. A big waristic plane.
And then they get mysteriously resurrected in the next movie.
Yeah.
And well, technically, Steve never actually dies.
Oh my god! Oh my god! And they're both called Steve, too.
They have to die to get resurrected.
Well, in a sense, he kind of does die, considering how his heart kind of got stopped by the whole thing. He just
Well,
got lucky.
They establish in Winter Soldier that the super serum, his superpowers is what made him able to survive the cryogenic freezing stuff.
Oh, absolutely. But in a sense, his body physically did die, but came back. In a sense, it's one of those technical things. Like, you know how you can die from drowning, but how you get revived, like, you know, being given a shock.
Hey guys, we're postponing the dance to next week, and I'm sure he'll totally make it.
Actually, he will.
Well, yeah, technically, yeah. Okay, let me put it more specifically. First, he doesn't make it, but then through time travel, he makes it. So there you go.
They totally remembered all this for that scene.
Yeah, I love how even as he's about to sacrifice himself, the one thing he's thinking about is the best way he can not to step on Peggy's toes. Like,
and I
my God,
Jones is really upset.
Oh,
Despite being a stick in the mud to him earlier.
I absolutely love how Marcus and McFeely completely committed to keeping Captain true to what Joe Simon's original intention.
And Joe Johnston's directing of it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention this particular way of the character to hibernate, through ice, makes a bit more sense. In the comics, he literally falls into the water and becomes this comical cartoony block of ice which just floats there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, a la the Twin Sanity opening.
Pretty much.
At least Twin Sanity has an excuse.
The more interesting part is that he gets rescued by Namor of all people, but unfortunately we don't have the right to
Remember, Shira, it was the 1940s. Logic hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Guys, to the captain.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Okay, so here's a bit of a fun fact, folks.
I finished my drink, though.
Here's a bit of a fun fact, folks. See, when it came to Marvel comic book superheroes, more often than not, as time went by, they would sort of adapt comic book heroes. Like, believe it or not, when Iron Man was originally kidnapped, he was originally kidnapped by Nazis, but then broke out. So, of course, when the 60s came by, his backstory got revamped to be that he was kidnapped by Vietnam.
How come the Tesseract's not burning that?
He cooled off in the water.
Yep. Also, so basically, whereas a lot of superheroes got their backstories revamped, Captain America's did not get revamped, though. No. See, what happened instead was, because his backstory was so iconic, they kept his backstory by making it that as time went by, it was either, his backstory is still the same, he got a bit older into the 60s and the 70s, but when it came to stuff like the 80s and 90s, essentially what happens is that Captain America gets frozen, only to come out as, into the future.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Miss Carter. God damn it, I missed most of Men in Black 3 for this.
Oh well, at least America. At least we won the war.
Yeah.
Yay!
So,
and then later in the Cold...
let's jump to 70 years later.
And then later in the Cold...
Peter, don't spoil it.
And then later in the Cold War, we'll have to deal with these...
We're literally about to see it right now, actually. So.
Well, they kind of reveal it to him, though. I think that's what Dibs means.
Yeah, true. By the way, Steve, while you were away during the Cold War, there was this little incident with this Magneto fellow and this Hellfire Club of sorts.
And hey, he's still in the 40s.
Wow, that was one heck of a plane crash.
I survived.
The Dodgers are actually doing pretty good for once.
Wait a
What a
minute.
time to be alive, I guess.
This game sounds familiar.
I love how they kept an old school radio there to make sure, just in case he woke up, he wouldn't freak out.
Hi.
Yeah, and even the nurse is dressed like yeah. Or at least I think it's. What are these Dodgers they're speaking of in the radio?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, about that.
Oops.
Yeah.
Maybe leaving a radio in the room was not a great idea.
Well, admittedly, their plan was to make him feel somewhat at home.
Great plan.
A little throwback to the start of the movie. Oh, hey, Halo!
What are these things?
It's time. It's the worst thing ever. Times Square.
Oh, hey,
crap,
Master Chief!
Holy crap! I've been abducted into an alien planet.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Oh my god, we didn't have to wait till after the credits to see him! You are part of a bigger universe. Oh wait, no, I've already used that line.
Welcome to 2011.
Ah, Planet Hollywood. Oh, Phantom of the Opera.
What are all these televisions doing here?
The wits to say we should get out of here before they start shooting Amazing Spider-Man 2 here.
Hold on.
Well, one.
I just.
You're gonna be a bit late, Captain.
You're running a bit late.
And now the Captain America theme by Alan Silvestri.
Well, yeah. But hey, don't worry, guys. I'm sure the Marvel Universe has time machines.
I have some bad news for you, Scott.
In keeping up the 1940s vibe, the credits are done
Stylized, yeah.
in the same style as the original World War II propaganda posters.
Oh, yeah. Those are always a delight to look at.
I want you for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And because Martin Scorsese's like, no, thank you.
You know, I'm gonna take a bet that one of the What If episodes is going to be that one where Peggy becomes Captain America.
From what I heard, the only one that we know so far is that what if T'Challa becomes a Star-Lord?
Oh, really? That's going to be one. Nice.
Apparently it's known from the casting.
I wonder if they're gonna do that Rule 63 universe one as well.
We'll see.
That's Sarah Halley Finn. That's Sarah Finn. I got it right. Yeah.
Chris Evans, the leading man himself, Tommy Lee Jones, Hugo Weaving, of course. Of course, Haley Atwell.
And of course, they have that specific.
Sebastian Stan. Sadly, we'll never see him again, I'm afraid.
Dominic Cooper.
Totally.
Toby Jones.
Jinx.
Not related to Tommy Lee.
Yeah. Neil McDonough.
Neil McDonough. I feel like I've heard that name before. Oh my god, he's in the Sonic movie.
These four guys.
Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Again, this is back in the time before Disney's name would be on stuff.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, this was the last film where
Keep 'em
Paramount had the
Keep 'em
distribution.
flying.
Again, can
How about a
you?
nice cup of freedom?
Cute. But
Alright.
don't go away, folks. There's an after-credit scene.
Of course.
In the meantime, I guess
Joe, but
final
I don't
thoughts.
even want to call it a scene, Joe.
Oh, come on, Dwibs. We still gotta commentate on it. I mean, it was a
Listen.
special one.
Listen, Dwips, let me tell you about a very important quality that all soldiers must have. Patience. Sometimes patience is the key to victory. Sometimes it can lead to very little. And you wonder why you waited so long for something so disappointing.
Shut up.
That may be my favorite one, if only just for the amount of lampshading in there.
Yeah.
How many more of these?
No, that one is one of my favorites, to be fair.
You know, it would have been something if when he said that if Spider-Man Homecoming turned out to be a disappointment.
Luckily,
Alright.
it didn't.
Final thoughts in the meantime. I'll start just to be quick. Honestly, this to me is the highlight of Phase 1, period. I know that the Avengers movie that comes next is more important and significant in terms of what it means, but this is absolutely peak, pure kino. It captures the essence of this sort of material, understands it, knows what to do with, and rewards the viewer for understanding it as well. It's quintessential comic book adaptation, if you ask me. Pretty much any other movie should take of the MCU should take inspiration at least from this one. It does. It clearly shows that it was made by people who did the Rocketeer, because it has all of the fingerprints on it, and I love that movie as well. So that's also a nice plus. Sorry. The casting is perfect. The score is perfect. The music, yeah, even the musical piece is nice enough for the montage. Even in terms of connecting the previous movie, it's also intelligent. It's subtle, but it manages to be effective. Also, a couple of cameos, like the first Human Torch costume at the Stark Showcase. Nice touch. But yeah, this to me is my favorite of Phase 1. And for very good reasons. Next.
Sure,
Well, I definitely liked this a lot more the second time around, because this movie is a bit of a departure from the rest of Phase 1 up until this point, so it was a bit to get used to. But yeah, this is, I mean, obviously one of the better movies for that
Yeah, I was gonna
phase,
ask, in
and
what ways do you see it as a departure?
it's
The 1940s setting, I'm guessing.
Genre?
no, more so, a bit of a tone shift, shall I say.
Ah,
It's a different movie with a different character, so obviously it's going to be that. But compared to the other MCU movies up until this point, this definitely is a bit different. But no, I really enjoy this one, and honestly, as Pedro has explained throughout, being a big fan of this character, I'd say this is honestly some of the most genuine and clever. Like, this movie contains like some of the best referential stuff I've seen in a movie. There's so much thought and care into all of it, instead of just, oh look, say, we're referencing this thing from that thing. So no, it's like everything makes sense, like perfect sense.
There's a reason. There's a story reason for the reference to be there. It's not just there because.
And that applies to all the references that they're in there, which is great. The score is an interesting mix. I mean, it works very well. But yeah, this was a great movie. I really enjoy it.
All right.
One thing I forgot to add, I also really like the fact that just because Cap stays true to his ideal, being a good man, that doesn't mean he doesn't have to, kill the people, because remember, this is a war movie.
Sure.
Choices have to be made as well. So one fear that I may had back in the day was like, oh no, we are gonna keep the Boy Scout route and we're gonna have him know killing is bad for you. But no, they don't shy away from it. And
Hell, they literally
I'm
have
perfectly
someone
okay
get
with that.
propeller chomped.
Well, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
more of an accident. You can see that Cap sometimes uses even a gun against people, like on the train, for example. So there is a conscience behind that, which it's again another sign that the movie is intelligent and respect intelligence, that kind of sense.
Well, to tell, Does brought that up during the movie, and I think the best way to remember that is to pay close attention to what Steve says to the doctor. He doesn't want to kill anyone. He doesn't like bullies. He doesn't want to kill, but he never said he won't do it. He just doesn't want to. He will avoid it if he can, but if he has to, he will. That's the distinct difference. Between...
Joe Johnston even composed a song for the movie. But soundtrack available on what, Disney Records?
Yep.
Well,
I mean, it's literally done by Alan Menken.
Well, I mean, the one that baffled me more was Joe Johnston doing a piece of music for this film.
Alright, I think we're about to get to the post.
Which is interesting because he's clearly a technical director / effects guy, so it's weird that he would do that.
He's J.J. Abrams in disguise.
Captain America will return in the Avengers.
It's Avengers Assemble guy.
This is the American cut that we're watching right now.
Okay, here we go. So
This
yeah,
scene-
imagine
this scene, fun fact: this after credit scene was directed by hold on,
It's not a scene. It's a full-on trailer.
basically, yeah. Well, but this specific scene that we're watching right now, this was directed by the director of the Avengers,
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yeah.
Back when people liked him.
And it's easy to say because this scene is also in that movie. So
Okay,
you go.
folks. Hi, Loki.
Come watch the
next
Avengers.
summer, some
Buddy wants to.
assembly.
Required.
Oh yeah, is it required? Okay, required.
Don't tell me we're gonna have to make the movie for him as some assembly.
Don't you
required.
see? It's your own movie maker.
You see, Dibs, this is it's the filmmaking equivalent of PlayStation 4's Dreams. See?
So, yeah,
Pretty
needless to
good
say,
things.
the audience were abuzz with that. Imagine, you just saw Captain America First Avenger, one of the most critically and audience-lauded films ever. How could it get any better? Next year, literally, the next year would be coming Avengers. Now,
Wait, hang on. Next May, dude, it came out here in April.
Details, Dibs. Details.
Details, yeah, but okay, a bit of a history lesson, folks. See, back in the day, heroes crossing over were plenty a thing in cartoons, but in live-action properties, had never been done before. And no, X-Men doesn't count.
Not to this extent, at least. Maybe one or two examples I may squeeze out of it, but not like this.
Never before. Like, just imagining two superhero properties together was one thing, but a whole bunch of them, all live action, like, it took a lot of rights buying, but finally we were gonna get it. Not only that, the big news around this time was that Disney were purchasing Marvel Studios.
Well, they
Actually,
purchased
that
them.
already happened.
Well, they purchased them the 2 years prior.
I forget that when the news had become, majorly public.
The same day, I'd imagine.
You'd be surprised, Jib. Sometimes there's a delay. Maybe it was 2010 or 11. Well, either way, though, yeah, basically, it was the big thing everyone was talking about. So, yeah, and this movie certainly helped stoke the flames of hype because it was quite a gorgeous one. In fact, I guess I'll give my final thoughts now. Holy cow, this is hands down to me the best movie of Phase 1. Yes, I say that even comparing it to Avengers. Don't get me wrong, Avengers is amazing, 4 is incredible, but Captain America just takes the cake. Like, here's the thing about Captain America. Sure, they could have half-assed it. Captain America's recognizable enough, but you know what? No, they chose to get this right, and they damn well did everything in their power to get it right. Right down to getting a guy who looks the perfect look for Captain America. He knows the talk, and he can also do the walk, too, because man oh man does he perform well in this. And he's not alone. All the actors here are so well cast for each of their roles, it's so great. And it's nice to have a villain. Holy cow, Red Skull, again, Red Skull is by no means the best Phase 1 villain. That honor belongs to Loki, but Red Skull was definitely a worthy contender in the sense that he fits the 1940s aesthetic quite well, being hammy over the top, but still definitely very threatening, and the final fight scene between him and Captain America is something to behold as well. Even though his death at the time kind of accumulates to him holding on to a cube, but hey, Captain America totally defeated him.
You can say his obsession is what did him in, Jova.
Mm-hmm. This movie has a lot of heart. It's not afraid to go pretty dark. Having Bucky of all people die, like I said, that's like if you had Robin die in a Batman film. Well, a Robin that wasn't Jason Todd die. Oh boy, it's just outright a masterpiece. Down to it having the first ever soundtrack that one could actually hum and memorize, something Marvel films have been having a problem with. One that has very good control over its tone here and there, and has remarkable characters that you definitely want to see come out fine. And while this is technically one big in media res film, since how technically we started in the present too, that still doesn't stop it from definitely holding your heart in tension here and there. The effects are very well good, especially CGIing Steve Rogers' head. Well, I'm sorry, Chris's head onto, God, whichever actor played him when he was scrawny here and there. Red Skull looks pretty good, all things considered. Yeah.
Also, Joe, I would argue that, remember, in that opening scene before we jump to the 40s, we only see the shield, so you can still argue that by the context of this movie, newcomers that don't know anything about Captain America can still assume that
absolutely. That's why I said, despite this being technically in S medias res film, you can still have a bout of tension still, all things considered.
If you're not familiar with the character, that is, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and even if you are familiar with the character, you can still have a legit good time. Like, yeah, you may have a good idea of what's gonna happen, but that didn't stop me. Like, let me tell you, I didn't have the honor of seeing this film in theaters, but me and my family bought this on DVD, and let me tell you, we watched it time after time after time. It was that good. Like, sometimes we would literally watch it back to back with itself. It was that fun a movie.
Oh, if you'll allow me, Joe, since you mentioned that. Here's an interesting thing, she writes. Joe Simon, the creator of Captain America, was still alive when this movie premiered, and he actually got to see it himself, and he loved it. According to his son, he never saw so much action in a movie. That's what he said. He was like 90 or something by that point. Go ahead,
He passed away in December the same year.
Yeah, sadly. But at least But look at this, Terry. He got to live long enough to see his character done justice.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lord knows Captain America had a bit of trouble with that. But thankfully those days are behind us, for the most part. So yeah, this is a phenomenal film. My favorite Phase 1 film. Has one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Has some of my favorite art design in a movie yet. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films of all time. What more can I say? Next.
I'd echo what you guys said, but I wouldn't exactly call this my favorite MCU film of Phase 1.
Really?
I'm more partial to 4 myself.
Well, now you know why you're our resident 4 of the group.
It's because 4 is more British of sorts. I know it's Australian. I know it's Australian, but I refer to our house gag that we love to reference.
Well, the director's British. Well, the director's British, so
there you go. And Dwebs is very biased. If there's Britishness in there, that counts for brownie points.
Well, mind you, there was Britishness a little bit in Ballistic, and look how that turned out.
Well, I never said that you will like anything that's British, but the Britishness of it gives it extra points to edge out over this one. That's
I
what
mean,
was
by
Yeah.
God, Dweebs, if you liked everything that was British, that would mean that you would love Monster Family.
saying. Oh God. Oh.
Jova, I have a little thing called standards.
Yes.
All right, carry on, those.
No, that was about it. I mean, other than me dissenting against the consensus on that little aspect, I still really enjoy the film. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, Pedro.
Okay, so sorry, Bev.
All right. Like Jova said, this movie is a work of art. This movie is a masterclass on fan service. It's a masterclass in taking an old, outdated character and bringing it into new standards. Unlike what Man of Steel did, where they completely reinvented the character to be an asshole because, apparently noble, selfless heroes are not like, they're lame.
It was them trying
know?
to do their take on the new 52 Superman at the time.
Well, then I'll throw that accusation at the New 52 as well.
Oh, don't
Right.
worry, Pedro. Plenty of people will agree with you on that.
But yeah, this movie, no. Kevin Feige and his team, and of course Joe Johnson and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely did exactly the opposite what Man of Steel should have done. They didn't change the character radically to make him fit the story they wanted to tell. Instead, they put the character exactly as he was in a story where he can be interesting. That's how you do it. You hear that, Zack Snyder? You hear that, Frank Miller? Yeah. So yeah, this movie is a true and look at that. The filmmakers who made Wonder Woman agree with me because this movie's basically a blueprint for the Wonder Woman movie when you get right down to it.
Again, in both movies,
what?
we have some guy named Steve having to sacrifice himself on a giant warplane.
And it ends with "Yay, the war is over" scene where everybody's happy. Again, there's so much that the Wonder Woman movie took from this movie, and for good reason, because this is basically the movie to look at. You have a character who's outdated in ways because he's a product of the 1940s. Well, there you go. This movie basically is now the blueprint of how you can take a character like that and make him relevant to today's audiences. Because nowadays you can see little kids of today with plastic Captain America shields, and Captain America is one of the most popular characters of the MCU, not just by comic book fans, but by movie fans in general, and for good reason, because this. I completely agree with Linkara. Of all the Avengers, Captain America is the one that is the consistently well-handled character in this entire... Like, never at any point did... In the hands of Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, this character is beautifully handled. It's absolutely wonderful how they understand the character to a T. To a fucking T. And they do a great job in enhancing the theme of little guys versus bullies, because that's the fantastic way of making Captain America relatable to a modern audience. Because bullies have always existed, and they always will exist. And and it's great that the idea that we can have someone who stands up to bullies like that, like Cap does, is great and wonderful. So yeah, the music is wonderful. Like I said, the Alan Menken's musical number is one of the greatest things ever created by mankind.
How about
the
Alan Silvestri's tune?
Oh no, the score is great,
Yeah.
beautiful, and I've always wanted a Captain America, the Captain America equivalent of something like the Superman theme, and Alan Silvestri completely delivered it. It's exactly the kind of theme Captain America should have. It's reminiscent of 1940s propaganda music in a lot of ways, and it really harkens back to those days, and it's perfect, and it sounds so wonderful. Every time Alan Silvestri is one of the composers for these movies, it always references, because, for example, and pay attention when you're watching the Avengers movie, for example, There's a scene where Captain America is trying his best to help with that little airship that's about to fall, and you can distinctly hear the Captain America theme playing while he's doing it. So Alan Silvestri does bring back the theme, and he also, spoilers, when he does grab Thor's hammer, you hear and so Alan is always good at always bringing back that theme in subtle ways as a little nod to people who love the first movie. So it's great that way. So yeah, everything regarding the visuals is beautiful, wonderful, absolutely perfect. The references, like the Ryan Merding is a master art director who knows how to take these comics and perfectly translate them into films. And yeah, and I love the way they introduce the Captain America. Basically, Shiro, here's how they introduce it in the 70s movie.
Sure.
The Carl Sagan's like, you're gonna need a disguise, something to stop them from recognizing you at all. And turns out, Shiro, he makes an outfit based on one of Steve's drawings. Yes, because basically, Shiro, in the 70s movie, Steve is an artist for some reason, and he drew an outfit that is basically the Captain America outfit, and he even says, you gotta be kidding, this is my drawing, why not? It's perfect. They killed your father, remember? They called him Captain America. Be Captain America, Steve. Jam Captain America down to the throats. Yeah, this movie is dumb. Yeah, it is dumb. Here's how it's revealed in the
fun for commentating.
Oh, trust me, Joe. The wraparound Captain America movies are It's like picking on a handicapped person. Like it's so the problems with this movie are so obvious. It doesn't even warrant putting them out. It's just, but whatever.
Well, it's a good thing we showed Shiro this version first, so she'll have a good idea.
They're embarrassingly bad. But yeah, the 1990 movie Shiroi. Here's what happens. We suddenly just cut to him with the outfit, and the poor excuse they use is, this woman drew the outfit for you because it's very protective and shit. Yeah, but why the hell do these collars and the American flag stuff? Really love the red and white and blue, and that's it. He has the outfit looks like that because the woman who designed it is a patriot. She's more of a patriot than Captain America is, apparently.
I mean, pretty damn clearly.
And for the record, Shiro, this character, who's according to the script the most patriotic character in that movie, she doesn't even actually show up in the movie. She's only mentioned. You know, she's the most patriotic character in this Captain America movie, and she doesn't even show up in it technically. Yeah, those little movies are terrible. Yeah.
We'll get to them, I think.
Yes, because I have a lot to say. Yeah, basically everybody, yeah. But fortunately everybody, Kevin Feige and his team did a brilliant job in making those movies could be completely forgotten, as they should. Because this is the Captain America movie. This is the Christopher Reeve Superman equivalent of the Captain America franchise. The movie that got it right. Just like the original Richard Donner Superman movie.
Except not as silly.
True. Well, there is some silliness in this movie, which again is appropriate.
Well, I said not as silly.
Well, considering the time that remember the Richard Donner original film was made in the 1970s, so it has that excuse. It was made in a simpler time, so it has that excuse to be fair.
Superman too.
Well, that one
different cuts.
Let's not forget how Richard, what was his name?
Richard Donner? Richard Lester.
Richard Lester took that movie and ruined it.
Well, to his credit, he was brought on in the middle of it, but by God, well, we're talking about Superman.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of similarities between Captain America and Superman, Joe. So.
Well, yeah. It's like I said, Captain America's kind of like the Superman equivalent in the sense that he was the first iconic superhero of the Marvel region. Like, well, he predates Spider-Man, Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, you name it.
Yes. Captain America, the First Avenger, again, more like the best Avenger, right? Right? Anyway. Yeah. Captain America First Avenger is not only the best movie of Phase 1, it's one of the best movies in this franchise, period. Like, it's still my personal favorite, but that's, I mean, I'm not saying it's
Even
the best
more than
movie in the-
Endgame. Wow.
Well, it's not. Well, here's the thing, Jova. It's one thing if you ask me what's the best movie. It's another thing if you ask me what's my personal favorite. My personal favorite is this one because this movie feels like it was made specifically for me.
Fair enough.
This movie feels like it was made particularly for me because this is how I would reinvent Captain America. Exactly, basically. So yeah. So as well, the best movie, period. Okay. Endgame is the best payoff, but here's the thing about Endgame. Endgame requires you to watch everything movie prior to get the best enjoyment out of. It's not a self-contained story. It's the conclusion of a long story over the course of various films. So it doesn't stand out on its own, technically. The best movie in general, it's either Winter Soldier or I'll have to think about it. But Winter Soldier is definitely a possible candidate for the best movie of the MCU. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, that's Captain America: First Avenger,
the best
a true
MCU.
a comic book movie masterpiece made by my favorite comic book movie writers, who will go on to write more brilliant movies for the MCU. So you can
and they wrote For the Dark World as well.
Yes, for as baff they're better at Captain America. I swear they are. So I guess Norse mythology is not their. I guess Norse mythology is their Achilles heel. I guess.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, that was the lead up to the epic conclusion of Phase 1, all wrapped up. So join us next time for when we tackle one of the biggest films ever made, The Avengers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be epic, I swear, guys.
Or to put it in the title that Duas prefers, Avengers Assemble.
Wait. What did he say? I didn't hear that last bit. Cap, what did you say?
I said Avengers Assemble.
Wait, I couldn't hear that last
Assemble, dang it!
See ya.
bit. Okay, yeah.
See you, everybody.
So yeah.
See ya.